saptashvarathamarudham prachandam kashyapatmajam. This is one of the shlokas chanted in honor of Surya Dev. It is because of the 7 horses of Surya that we see the sun rise every morning. Whether it be the Ashwamedh Yagna of the Yor or Kalki Avatar as a prophecy for the future, horses play an important role in the Vedic literature and tradition. In fact, horses are considered to be divine creatures. Uchchaishavas was a divine horse churned out of the ocean during Samudra Manthan. When God descends down on earth to save the Vedas, he takes the form of a horse, Hargriv Avatar. When you hear stories, legendary stories of kings who won great battles, it is because of their horses, and we sing praises for their horses as well, such as the horse Chetak for Maharana Pratap. Here at Sharada Prabha, we drew upon this rich cultural and spiritual legacy of Bharat, and as part of our pet education series, we took an opportunity to teach students about horses, and that too from experts and caretakers who have been living with and taking care of horses for decades. So it wasn't just a theoretical session, it was a series of sessions with practical hands-on experience where they got to touch a horse, sit on a horse and ride a horse. And besides the excitement of horse riding, they learned important skills, soft skills of being a human being, calmness, clarity of mind and compassion in the heart. This is the most important lesson that they learned from this series. Ultimately, education is all about transformation, and the person who got up from the horse was not the same person who got on the horse. This was the purpose behind our horse education series, that by simply approaching a horse, by learning about horses, by going to a stable, listening to experts and caretakers of horses and actually engaging with horses, you have to overcome your fears. You have to cultivate those qualities of calmness, clarity and compassion in your being, and that transformation is the real fruit of horse education series. This is what we aim for at our school, and we pray that this education continues as they pass on this knowledge to other students later on. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so today we're going to have a very special session, probably something that doesn't happen in schools usually. Okay, but it's happening here because we have special guests from the USA, Fernando and Sophie, who have lived with and been taking care of horses for more than 4 decades. So it's very special, and whenever we encounter experts like that, we must learn from them, because learning from books is good, learning from textbooks, learning from online materials is also good, but something even better is learning from teachers who are embodiment of that knowledge. Okay, experts, professionals, people who have spent their lives in a particular field, they embody that knowledge because they have experiences, they have live experiences that they can share with us, communicate to us, and we can reflect over them that we cannot get from textbooks. So we're going to use that opportunity. We're going to take advantage of the visit here to our campus, and the subject is horses. And you've all been learning about horses from both of them since the last few days, and you've also gotten a chance to touch a horse, be on a horse, and even ride a horse. You've seen how horses are taken care of, how much care, safety, and responsibility goes into it, right? And you've also learned a little bit about uh, the speciality of horses. So today we'll have a special session where we'll dig a little bit deeper into this material. Okay, ready?
Yes.
So I want to start with something uh, through which I was introduced to horses, not through a real horse, but through our scriptures, Vedic scriptures. So in the Vedic scriptures, as all of you children might also remember the story of the churning of the ocean. Okay, who churned the ocean? There were two Asuras and Devas, and they were brothers, and they were churning the ocean to get treasures out of the ocean, right? And they got 14 treasures out of the ocean until they finally got Amrit, which is nectar of immortality. And one of the treasures was a divine horse, Uchchai Shavas, right? A divine horse, white horse. Um, and there are stories around that divine horse as well. Remember Garuda and Aruna's mother, Vinata and Kadu, they had a fight between the color of the horse. They were debating what is the color of that horse. So, and then of course, Surya. How does the Surya travel? What does he have? Horses. How many? Seven horses. Okay, so every day we see sunrise and sunset, and that is kind of governed by horses, poetically speaking, metaphorically speaking. So basically, horses occupy a very dominant position in the Vedic culture. They're considered divine, and they're considered to be carriers of the sun. And sun is like the visible god. So I also have a few questions about the horses, since you have been taking care of horses and you have such a passion and love for horses. I would like to pick your brain a little bit. Um, so first question that comes to my mind is, because horses, since horses occupy such a predominant position in the Vedic literature and in history, in Indian history as well, that means horses must have been and are very useful to human beings. So can you share a little bit about the different uses of a horse?
You want to start with that?
Yes, so horses became very precious to humans because they help them to travel. They help them to carry things. Even before the wheel was invented, you would put two poles in the back of the horse, tie it to his belly, and put things on the pole, and you could carry. So, especially when human beings were still hunters, they used to hunt, they used to kill the animals, the deers or buffaloes in America, and we would put that in the back and the horse would carry it because it is very heavy. Then there was horses were used in agriculture in places where it's too dry to have cows, because cows eat a lot. You have to have green grass, you have to have grain. Horses, they can just eat grass and they're okay. Like I told you, they can turn the grass into protein with in their stomach. And then other civilization, like in Mongolia, which is a desert, there's nothing. They used to milk the horses and make cheese out of the horse's milk. So they used it for food. Nowadays, we use horses for sports in the Olympic, for example, this big horse event. The daughter of the Queen of England rode in the Olympics in the 1960s, Princess Anne. She ended up falling and breaking a leg, but that's another story. And you use horses for races, for polo, and still for around agriculture. Big horses are used, for example, in the forest to when they cut the trees and there is no road, the horses pull the trees out and then you can open pathways in the forest.
So, yes, and now probably the most common thing is for recreation, meaning uh, taking them on trails, taking them to the mountains, and exploring things, and also sporting little races. There's many little recreational sports and this is what mostly what people do with the horses now, you know. However, uh, one thing which never, I think, has changed is what we talked about before, how the therapeutic a horse can be. And that's, I think, has happened since man has been working with horses. He's had that connection. And it's interesting to see because there's sometimes when we're just out when we're on trails or something, and you meet people, and it's not unusual. People go, a horse. There's something in our karma, in our human history, that has worked with horses for so many thousands of years. That some kind of memory comes back, and it's very few people, but it has happened once in a while. People go, oh, horse, I don't want it. But 90% of the time, people just stop and go, oh my God, a horse. Can I get close? Can I touch him? And then all that happens, as soon as they start touching him, they just feel so, and then they go, oh, thank you so much, and we go on, So that has never changed. So the horse now is used, as we say, mostly for entertainment and for recreation, but it still has that therapeutic thing.
And also in horse therapy, with especially children that are handicapped and have disability, found out that, for example, children that are badly autistic and don't talk, they put them on horses for 3, 4, 5 months, and then they start talking, they start relaxing, they start making sound.
And like you say, they start, why they start talking, because our daughter worked with a child that was autistic, and he would not talk. He would very rarely speak. His parents very rarely had conversations with him. Once he was on the horse and sat on the horse and everything, my daughter said he came home, and the mother said to her, she said, this is amazing, because he came home and he says, Mom, I was on a horse and I did this and I felt this and I felt that. And she said he was talking, which he wasn't doing that. But just because he had that experience with the horse, he had to express himself. So again, it was kind of like what we talked about, that peace, that feeling that you get with horses. So
Yes.
Did you feel that
Yes.
when you were around horses?
Yes.
So, I mean, these are not just words for them, but when you introduce them to a horse, they actually felt the same.
yeah.
Yeah.
So initially there was a little bit of fear, maybe apprehension, because it's something new. They look big and they look powerful, but they're gentle.
Yeah.
That was my experience.
Yeah.
They're powerful but gentle. So for them and for everyone watching, and they told me that they're going to pass on this knowledge to their peers and to their younger ones. So how should one approach a horse in general? Because there's a certain protocol, right, that you learned for how to approach a dog. So I'm sure there's something similar, and they also did it practically. But if you had to lay it out in words, like properly spell it out, what would it be? What's the first thing they can tell their younger siblings or students how to approach a horse?
So I think you remember horses, when they introduce themselves to each other, they do it through the sense of smell, through their nose. They go approach another horse, and if that horse doesn't want to get near, and then they know. But once they agree to meet each other, they sniff each other. So how did we do that with the horse?
We put our hand near his nose.
Yes. Yes. So the hand became an extension of our nose, so that they understood that, and they understood that as how to greet. And what they do is they smell you, you know, they get your, because they have a really good sense of smell, and then they know you. If you come more often and more often, you know, then right away they know who you are, they know you've come, you know. So that's how they introduce themselves to each other, and how we introduce ourselves to them.
Trainers must be undergoing some kind of a protocol with the horses to train them, right? So can you because so that is basically what you describe is introducing yourself to a horse.
Yeah.
Once you're introduced and the horse begins to know you and feel safe and comfortable, and you are safe and comfortable with the horse, then probably the actual training begins. So what does that training entail?
You want to take that?
So,
You know why I asked this question? Because there's a story of Mullah Nasruddin.
Oh,
He
and
got on a he
a
got on an
donkey, no?
untrained horse.
oh yes, yes.
Okay, so Mullah Nasruddin is like a wise fool. He makes people laugh, and but it's more uh, that he's showing the human condition. The story is that he gets on a horse, which he has not introduced himself to. The
Right.
horse doesn't know Nasruddin, and Nasruddin doesn't know the horse. Horse is new to the Nasruddin, and Nasruddin is new to the horse. He gets on a horse, and he doesn't know what to do, and the horse just starts galloping, and takes Nasruddin on a ride, and soon Nasruddin is trying to hold the horse, but he flips over and he's holding onto the neck of the horse, and the horse is just galloping in the city. And then everybody said, Nasruddin, Nasruddin, where are you going? And he said, I don't know, ask the
That's the
horse.
horse. Yeah.
So he got on an untrained horse, and he didn't train the horse.
Right.
So we don't want our students to be hanging on horses and saying, ask the horse. And we don't want to do that in life either, right? We don't want to just do something not knowing the proper protocol. So it's important to learn from those who have experienced it. So that's where I'm coming from.
Okay. So there is protocols to approach a horse, but the main thing is you want to read the horse, because every horse is different. So yes, there is things you never do. For example, you never come running to a horse. You never come straight at a horse. You don't scream. You don't make loud gesture. That is a protocol that's true with any horses. Now, if you approach a young horse that doesn't know anything, it's different if you approach an old savvy horse who knows everything, and you can basically shoot a gun under his feet and nothing will faze him. He will be okay. But the protocol usually with trained horses, that we approach them always on the left side. Why? Because in the old days, warriors used to have swords, and they would carry the sword here. So it was easier for them to get on the horse with the sword on the side, on the left side. You could ride, there is, for the horse, it's not better or worse, but as humans, that's how we start training horses, always on the left. When you come towards a horse, don't come to his face. That's attacking. Remember, they're prey animals. They don't like being attacked. They will run away. You come towards the shoulder. Calmly, you introduce yourself and you start. One thing you do when you train a horse, especially young horses who don't know anything, is you watch. You watch the ears. If the ears are pointed towards you, it's good, means he's listening. And sometimes he will go on a circle and you'll see one ear is pointing at you and go on the circle and he's pretending not to see you, but he's focused on you. When the ears are back, that means they're mad. Don't try anything. Just let them calm down. Don't ask anything difficult or impossible. If the ears are back, say, okay, chill later, you know. But training a horse takes years. To make a good horse, it's like you. It takes 12 years for you to finish schooling, right? Horses, it takes to get to a point that you have a good horse 3-4 years. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes patience, and it takes knowing what the horse can do in that moment. Only ask what he can do, and then if you ask politely, He thinks it's his idea and he will do it. Okay? Don't push a horse and never punish a horse. Why? Because he is in the moment. If he did something stupid here, 10 seconds ago, he's right here, right now. So this he doesn't remember. So you punish him means nothing to him. So patience, timing, and reading the horse. Always know what your horse is doing and where he is at and what he can do. Then ask.
So that, I mean, those are kind of the qualities we can learn from the horse,
Yes.
right? Like while we're training the horse, we actually become human beings who have more patience and
Yes.
more responsibility,
Exactly.
more
Exactly.
focus, more sensitivity, more compassion.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, one great horse trainer that we worked with said that precisely that. He said, you don't just work on a horse, really, you work on yourself, you know. And it's like you're saying, once you understand how to conduct yourself with the horse and how to present, like Sophie was saying, you know, not through punishment, you know, but through, making him feel that he is doing what you want, and he's happy to do that because then he feels like he has a purpose. Just like that's important for us too. So he always said, you don't work on a horse, you work on yourself. And the better you are with yourself, the better you'll be with the horse and the better trainer you will be. So it was very, very moving for us to understand that. And still we're working with her and trying to understand it. I mean, you never stop. I mean, I feel uh, that I will never stop learning uh, from horses and about horses and even about training. It's something that will, because like Sophie was saying, the horse is in the moment, and that is a very important thing. The Veda, I mean, knowledge is to understand the moment, and for us to try to learn to be in the moment. So, since the horse is always that way, you are constantly trying to do that and trying to interpret it and learn that as well. So,
And you really have to make yourself very quiet inside. It's not about you. It's not about your ego. It's not about what you want. It's about the horse. So you're always looking outside of your little self to see what the horse is doing and how you can help to be better, to do, to run, for example, if you want to run a horse, or if you're working with cattle, how you can help the horse being more athletic. Or so you get to a point that you disappear, you as a person. It's all the horse.
So it's like sadhana.
Yeah.
Like
It
it's a
is
spiritual
sadhana.
practice,
It is not like sadhana, it is sadhana.
right? I mean, that's the purpose. That's the purpose of sadhana,
Yes.
is to get yourself to be in the moment. So first step, you said calmness.
Yeah.
Like regulation of your breath, of your body, and then approaching the horse. So already you become more aware of your senses and your mind. Then you approach the horse, and slowly you get clarity of being in the moment. Because if you're here and there, then the horse will also
Yes.
echo that
Yes.
or reflect that emotion, that restlessness.
Immediately.
Immediately. So in order for you to build a connection or a communion with the horse, you have to have that kind of clarity of mind.
Yes.
In fact, the reason Nasruddin got uh, off like that was because he was bringing his past experiences when he was trying to control a horse. First of all, he was trying to control a horse,
Yeah.
which, as you said, is not a good idea, to dominate the horse or control the horse or command the horse. And second, he was bringing in his training of a donkey. He had been riding donkeys before. And he was bringing that past experience onto and overlaying that or superimposing that on being with a horse. A donkey and horse are two different animals. Okay, you cannot bring it. So basically, it's a metaphor for not burdening the present moment with the past experiences.
Yes.
And so you got calmness, clarity, and then compassion. Then true compassion arises where, like you said, it's not about you and your ego's wants and desires, but it's about the horse.
Yes.
And you kind of like lose that sense of separateness,
Yes.
sense of separation from the horse, and then from everything around as well. It's not just, there's no you riding the horse.
Yes.
Right. That's what you strive for.
Yes.
There's no like a separate entity
No.
controlling or riding another separate entity. It's actually like one, and we saw that in the videos that you were showing, right? Like the rider is, it's kind of like surfing
Yeah.
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 or dancing. Like you're one with
Yeah.
the act,
Yeah.
or any art, any action,
Any art,
any
yeah,
action,
Action.
skill in action or stillness in action will result in that. What is known in psychology as the flow state, the state of
Yeah.
flow, where it's just you're flowing like water,
Yeah.
no resistance,
No obstacle, no resistance.
obstacle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my teachers, when I was learning how to ride, used to say, it's not how much you do with a horse, it's how little you do.
Oh my God.
To get to the point where you sit on the horse and you think you have a thought and the horse does it, and you can get there.
That's
And-
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That is in fact one of the lessons that they learn in school, is about that. It's like being in the flow,
Mhm.
focusing so much on the given task that you lose yourself
Right.
Yes.
in moment. It's like in sports they call it being in the zone.
Yes.
You're in the
Exactly.
zone, and it's so effortless. It looks effortless to the observer. Obviously, it's effortless for you because there's no you there. But to an observer, it looks easy.
Mhm.
They feel like this is so easy. But the sense of ease comes from your being one with the task.
Yeah.
And when
Not so easy to get there.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly. But when
yes,
you get there,
yeah.
And you get
so
there.
it's like you see an expert basketball playing like basketball player like Michael Jordan playing basketball,
Right.
or for the sports that Indians watch like cricket or something.
Right.
And a star in that athlete
Right. It
looks so easy, effortless.
Yeah.
But that's after years of practice, training, discipline,
Yes.
and then so it is like you said, it is sadhana.
It is sadhana.
So a lot of self-reflection, and they have been reflecting over their classes on horse education and their experiences, and they have a few questions, right?
Okay.
You want to ask your questions? Who wants to go first? All right, so we'll start from the back.
What is the height of an average horse?
Oh,
What is the height
of an
of an average horse?
Okay. That's a good question. The height of an average horse, let's say, the most common uses, again, like we were talking about, are horses for recreation. The horses that are meant for work, for heavy work, are taller horses, but they're not the average horse anymore, So the average horse is more or less the size of the horses that came. They go a little bit taller, but that's pretty average,
So about
Oh,
like you would
well,
say 6.
Also, they don't measure a horse in centimeters. They measure a horse at the shoulder, not at the top of the head. And they measure in hands, which is about like this. So a horse is 15 hands is the average.
Yeah.
So it's about what?
About like the horses.
About like the horse we had.
A little bit taller than the horses that came, and our horses that you saw are just a little bit taller, not much. Zeus is a little taller. He's a little bit bigger,
That's your horse.
The black
Yeah,
one.
the black one,
The black, the
horse,
lazy one.
the lazy one.
Zeus is like Indra of the Greek
Yes, yes,
pantheon.
yes. His name is Indra. He's supposed to be royal and everything. So lazy.
Indra can be lazy sometimes too.
Okay.
A lot of pleasure in the heavens.
So yeah, a little bit taller than what you guys are now familiar with. Yeah, is average.
Okay, next question.
Does a horse jump?
Oh, great. Yes. Horses, there are certain sports, and they're competitive sports, you know, where horses have to jump over many different obstacles and things, and that's in the Olympics also. It's an Olympic sport. Horses can, I mean, naturally a horse will jump if he's in the wild and he has to, something's in the way, he'll jump, you know. But now, you know, they're taught to jump and to jump higher and to work in these different kind of sports.
In the Olympic, the average jump is 1 meter 60 and sometimes 2 meters. And they have to do 13 obstacle course, and they have to jump this high, and then they have to jump over water, over river.
Yeah.
So they can jump lengthwise also. They're very athletic.
Now, I'll tell you a quick little story. There's a very, very famous horse who was a jumper. Okay? I mean, he became famous because he could jump so high. And the owner of that horse, okay, he went to buy the horse, and they, you know, they were selling horses, and nobody wanted this horse for some reason. Something, he didn't look so well or something, and he bought him very cheaply, and he brought him home, you know. And the horse, he had the horse for a while, and then he owed somebody some money and something. So he says, look, take my horse, you know, because I owe you. And so the guy said, okay, thanks, I'll take the horse. So he took the horse, and he didn't live all that far from him. So one day the horse shows up and came back to his house, and he says, oh my God, what's this horse doing here? I sold him, I gave him to this man who I owed money to. And the man comes and he says, how did you get the horse? So the horse jumped over a fence and made it back to him. So he said, I apologize, please take the horse back. You know, it's your horse. So he took the horse back. Next few days, the horse jumped the fence again and came. And it was a tall fence. So he said, no, I can't. You have to take this horse back. So the guy said, okay, I'm going to build the fence a little bit bigger. So he built the fence a little bit bigger, and the horse came back. Okay? So then, and then the guy felt bad, you know. He says, no, man, take the horse. So then the last time what happened was the horse jumped the fence. One of the posts came with it, and the horse came dragging the post and came back to that guy. And finally, the man who was supposed to be the new owner of the horse said, look, this horse doesn't want to be with us. He wants to be with you. Take your horse back. So then he realized that this horse was jumping, and he was jumping high. So he worked with the horse, and he trained the horse to jump. And he became a national champion in the United States for making big jumps. And a very famous horse, jumping horse. But the heart that that horse, this guy saved him, you know. And the horses aren't stupid. Something in that horse must have known that this guy saved him, and he said, okay, this is my guru. This is my, you know, this is the person that I need to be with, you know. And so nothing could keep that horse away from that man, and then he became famous. And the man loved that horse, you know.
That's a sensitivity of the horse towards
Yeah.
the human beings.
He would
And
come. He came back.
and loyalty also.
Yeah.
And you know, this sense of like owing something, repaying the debt,
Yes.
which
All
humans
combined
can
there, you know? Yeah.
humans can learn that from the horses.
Mm.
In fact, in the Mahabharata, you know who is riding the horse? I mean, there are many charioteers, but who is the most famous charioteer? Krishna is riding the horses. At one point, he tells Arjuna, stop. He gets down and starts taking up the horses because he senses that the horses are tired in the middle of the battlefield.
Wow.
So I mean, that is why we worship him, you know, that sensitivity, whether it was towards the cows in his early life and towards the horses in his later life, that sensitivity towards animals. And he just stops everything and takes care of the horses. That until and unless the horses are ready, we're not going forward with this. In fact, Buddha also had a horse because he was a prince. And the horse took him from the palace to the forest when he left the kingdom. And a big white horse, Antak was his name. And when he left the Buddha in the forest, it said that the horse started to fast because Buddha had gone off on his journey towards enlightenment, and the horse also took a similar journey.
Wow, excellent.
And so according to some legends, the horse then gave up his life. He didn't ride anyone else. So that sensitivity, loyalty is so
I
tied
believe,
into.
yeah, it can be. I've seen similar things.
And who you asked about horses jumping, right? Remember we went to Panaya, and there's a fort here, an ancient fort, and Shivaji, one of the ancient kings, kings from very well-known kings who fought against the Islamic rule. There's a legend. There's a big opening in the fort. Do you remember that? It was yeah. And so the legend goes that his horse jumped that because he used this Panaya fort to escape when the attackers were coming to find him and get him. And he from that opening, the horse took a big leap. Okay. You mentioned horse's heart. Does anybody have a question on horse's heart? You got your chance. Okay, so we'll come back to you. Anybody else? Go ahead.
Does a horse sit?
Sit?
Can a horse sit? Is that what you mean? Can a
Yes.
horse sit? Yeah, actually, that's I've also heard
That's a
that
good
myth
question.
that horses don't sit or don't sleep sitting.
No.
Lying down. These are myths floating around.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, in the circus, they train horses to sit, but do they naturally sit? No. Their legs are not made for that, but they can sleep standing up. They don't have to lay down.
They do both. They sleep lying down, and they like to do that, and they can rest. But if there's a little bit of danger, or even not, during the day, they can fall asleep standing up. They have this ability in their joint that somehow I don't quite understand.
It
how
locks.
It locks.
The joint locks.
You know.
So it doesn't move anymore, and then they can fall asleep
Right.
without
So
falling.
their four legs are locked, so they don't fall, and they just go to sleep. And they can rest, and so they sleep both lying down and standing up, but they don't sit like Sophie
No,
said.
they don't sit.
That's not a natural thing for them to do.
Horses are known for that trait, right? That they are like workaholics. They can work a lot,
Yes.
and they have a lot of power.
Yes.
So horsepower.
Yeah.
That term comes from there,
Yeah.
like unit of measure. Horsepower. It's when you study physics, you'll know that. Okay, next question.
Do a horse sweat?
Do horses sweat?
Yes.
Good question. Yes. Yes. And it depends on the weather also, but they sweat. And when you have a saddle on them, whenever you take the saddle off, almost all the time they're sweaty under that, because the saddle kind of keeps some of their sweat. But they do sweat. Absolutely. Yeah.
I just have to ask, when you ride a horse hard, you run them a lot, or you have to check fences and you have to run, then they sweat, then you have to make sure you never take a horse to water when he's hot and sweaty. You have to wait half an hour till he cools down, because if a horse is really hot and sweaty and all like that, and you have him drink, he can have colic. Colic means the intestine twists. Yeah. So you never let a really hot horse that has worked really hard drink right away. You always wait.
But
You
this
let
is
them
this
cool down.
this is because we are domesticating them. Otherwise, in the wild, they have their natural intelligence of
They
when
would-
to
yeah,
eat, when to
right.
drink, when
Yeah.
not to eat, and when not to drink. It's only humans, because we're so disconnected with the natural rhythm, that we
Yes.
force onto horses, or any pet for that matter, what we do to ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, we use our mind too much,
Yeah.
and we overfeed, overeat. You know.
Yeah.
So, Kripali?
How many kg does a baby horse weigh?
A baby horse?
Like a newborn horse?
Yeah.
Okay. Weight of a newborn horse.
A big horse is 500 kg normal weight. So baby horse, what, 60, 80 maybe, depending on the breed, 60 or 80.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but you know, they're yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is that a baby horse will, you know, being just born, he can stand up. He can stand up and he can walk.
And that probably goes back to the fact that they're prey animals.
Yes.
So they have to be alert
They have
from their birth, right?
Yeah.
Because the predator can come and attack anytime.
anytime. And the herd has to go and they can't be left behind.
They got to be agile.
They gotta be.
Yeah.
So
they
within
walk right
within
away.
an hour they walk.
Is that why they are also so closely bonded to each other, and
Yes.
you know, even to us? Because
Yes.
they're always needing that sense of community,
Yes.
Yeah.
safety in numbers.
Safety in
protect.
numbers,
So,
herd.
can you share a little bit about their heart? Like, you know, what modern research is also showing?
Well, yes. The heart, as we all remember, being 10 times larger than our heart, you know, it produces a magnetic field, you know, around the horse, you know. So if you're, it's about what 2 meters, more or less, because of the metric, right? 2 meters. If you're within 2 meters of the horse, and then the horse's heartbeat will start touching your heartbeat,
Sinking.
and then can synchronize.
Mm.
You know, and then all these things that we talked about start to take place. You know, a feeling of calmness, feeling of peace. You know, and that
What? Well, because the heart of the horse you will think. You come and people are nervous and they're excited, their heart goes fast. The horse is slow. When the horse is not moving, the heart is steady and slow. So pretty soon the heart of the nervous person will start sinking, slowing down, blood pressure goes down, respiration goes down. Shanti.
yeah.
Okay, Sandhya.
Which sense of horse is sharp?
Which sense of horse is sharp
Oh,
out of the 5 senses?
Smell.
smell. Yes,
Smell.
smell.
Ears also very sharp. They can
yeah,
hear.
they can hear. They're really good. Their hearing, their sense of smell, and
There
as
are,
far as the senses, their eyes. I mean, it's not a great sense, but it's interesting because, like we spoke, one eye can see almost all the way to his back. It's just a small part of the tail that he can't see. And this eye also sees the front and goes all the way to the back. But their eyes aren't super sharp, you know, like a bird's eyes, or you know,
Eagle's eyes.
eagle eye or something like that, you know. But they have that ability to see, and that's necessary because, you know, for protection, because, you know,
they can see.
yeah, if they have a predator, you know, they're aware, you know, because they can see almost 360 degrees.
They have 2 blind spots where they don't see. It's one directly here
Behind.
behind. That's why We always tell, especially kids, when you go around the horse, go really wide. Don't come close because they can see you and if they can get startled. And right in front of their nose, they don't see really well and they don't see depth. So sometimes with young horses, you have a little bit of water on the ground and you're trying to lead them through water. They think they have to cross Ganga, you know. It's like, oh my God, no, no, I can't. And it's like this much because they don't see that depth right here.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, their best sense is their nose and their hearing, and that's how they recognize you. That's why it's good to approach them like that. So that scent, our scent, they they feel it, they connect it with the person, and it's a strong scent.
That working with the horses will also train our senses long term, because we have to be just as sensitive or at least appreciate the senses of the horses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have to observe. I mean, we definitely have to
So
observe
that
with,
sharpens
yes,
your observation skills,
the
listening
observation.
skills,
Yes.
and just in general sensing. Do they remember people and places? Obviously,
Yes.
that story, like you said, he remembered his owner
Yes.
in a very
Yeah.
intuitive way.
Yeah.
But in general, like in terms of memory, do they remember places?
Yes.
Yes, and
They remember the vet and they never like him. When the when the vet comes to give the shots, they always know. And they're hard to catch.
They know, like, as soon as the vet approaches them.
Oh,
If
sometimes they hear the truck and they can recognize the truck of the vet and then they get.
But it's also like the story of the horse that we got for our daughter, you know. He recognized he was not treated well by adults, so he didn't like adults. So in general, he made a generalization, but he saw an adult and he didn't want. But he saw a little kid, and that horse would do anything. He would walk up to the child, let the child put the halter on him, and let the child. He'd walk right out with the child.
So it's about actually making the horse feel safe,
Yes.
Exactly.
and for the horse to feel that you have to work on your aggression. It could be suppressed aggression,
Yes,
or
absolutely.
inhibited aggression, like
Yeah.
anger issues,
Yeah.
your own fear, because aggression comes from fear. So
Yes.
if you haven't worked on your fears, then because aggression is a form of defense in a way.
Yes.
You try to attack
Absolutely.
before someone
Absolutely.
attacks you.
Yeah.
So it kind of forces you to reflect on your own mental condition.
Again, that's you working on yourself. That.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why horse is considered divine.
Yeah.
because
Maybe.
God comes as the guru to tell you to look within.
Yes.
And so God, in fact, one of the avatars in the Bhagavad Puran, there are 24 avatars. One of them is a horse avatar, Hagriv.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Agree,
Right.
yeah.
He has a horse head.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And according to some accounts, when the Vedas were lost, some asuras stole the Vedas and hid them in the ocean. Hagriv came and saved the Vedas.
Yeah.
So Veda is the embodiment of knowledge. In a way, it's a symbolic or poetic way of saying that horse takes you to self-knowledge. Because that's
Yes.
the ultimate knowledge in the Vedas. It's not just objective knowledge; it's self-knowledge. So horse kind of helps you go within and know yourself.
And yes, and I think what you're saying is absolutely correct. And I think what helps is, again, like we talked about, the horse is in the moment. Having said that, whoever approaches him, it doesn't matter who, the horse doesn't judge. He has no sense of judgment. This is a rich man, this is a poor man, this is a woman who's not a good woman, this is a woman who's a great woman. None of that matters. All he does, he's right in the moment, and then he just experiences what you are experiencing at that moment. Nothing of you're rich, poor, angry. I mean, that he'll feel the anger and all that, but it's at that moment. Whatever you feel and whoever you are at that moment, that's the only thing the horse recognizes. No ego, no nothing.
No, authenticity. Your authenticity.
Yes.
You cannot feign or have a
You cannot fake, no.
fake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the horse within the herd, the way they set a pecking order is through respect. They respect the alpha mare. I told you the alpha mare is the one who runs the alpha means top mare. There is always one top mare in the herd, and she runs the herd. And the horses, they don't you see a lot of people, Nini, I like my horses. They don't care about that. They like when you scratch them, okay, but they respect you. So you have to be, when you train horses, you have to become the alpha mare or the alpha person. Meaning what? You're not mean. Meaning you're grounded within yourself. You know who you are. You know what you can do, and you know what you can do to help the horse. But you have to be really centered within yourself and know who you are.
Beautiful.
And you gain respect. That's how, yeah.
Did you have a
Respect
follow-up
and
question?
trust.
You had another question.
Can horses see all the colors?
Can horses see all the colors?
Oh,
I don't
No,
think,
no,
not
no.
all of them.
no, they're not like us.
No.
They see colors. It's a good question. I don't know, and I don't think we know
I don't know.
the complete answer, but they don't see all the colors. I can't tell you which.
They see more colors than dogs, because dogs, you learn that they don't see colors. No, the horses, they see more colors.
Yeah,
But I don't know how many.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
But they're not. Yeah,
Horses, in historical texts or legends, we hear that the kings who won battles are often known along with their horses. So it'll be like Rana Pratap and his horse Chetak.
Mhm.
So like the importance of horses, the significance of horses in the battles that they
Yeah.
won,
yeah,
and they used to treat the horse with that respect,
yeah,
as if the horse is divine incarnate.
yeah.
An interesting Hagriv avatar, this incarnation of God as a horse. One of the stories in the Devi Bhagavatam, in the Devi Puran,
No, you like that.
there was an asura named Hagriv. There was an asura named Hagriv.
Oh.
The asura
Also,
had a horse head, and he did penance and asked for a boon that only someone with my name and form can kill me, because he thought there's nobody like me around. There was no other horse demon or horse creature, like half horse and half asura, or half divine. So he said, so he thought he's free of death now. He's invincible and immortal. So God comes down because he starts creating havoc. God incarnates with the same name, Hagriv, with the same form. So you have battle between Hagriv Asura and Hagriv Avatar.
Wow.
And Hagriv Avatar wins. So in a way, horse is being portrayed as somebody who's out of control in a certain context, but also divine in another context. It all depends on your state of mind,
yes.
your ability.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
There's nothing intrinsic in the horse that is good or bad, or
Correct.
restless or restful. It's you who is being reflected from the horse. So horse is like a mirror in which you see yourself.
Yeah.
Well, that's perfect what you said, because Zeus, the lazy horse, the black horse,
This.
his owner, she's had him for 10 years, I don't know, or
I
something.
don't know.
For some reason,
Tool.
she cannot create that respect in that horse, And like you say, the mirror, she has troubles catching the horse. The horse is really can be nasty. Zeus, little kids can ride Zeus, and he's fine. He's wonderful with children, but with his owner, he is
Oh, he is impossible.
he's impossible.
Yeah.
But it's because she's not at ease.
She's
this is
very,
exactly what the story
yeah,
is about.
Yeah.
yeah, she's very nervous and always in a hurry, always fast, 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 fast. And he hates that, He brush me, but not brush, 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 brush like that.
And for us, education is sadhana. There must be a transformation at the end of your experience. You know, the person who got on the horse uh, should not be the person who gets off the horse. The person who gets off the horse must be a transformed person. So, working with a horse or coming in touch with a horse must transform your outlook towards life. So, I want to hear from you, actually, both of you, like how has um, being with horses transformed your outlook? If you had to just summarize it, how has it transformed your outlook towards life in general? That, okay, without the horses, I would see life this way, I would see people this way. But now, because of my being in touch with horses, I see life in with a different perspective. Because I would like them also, the children who are here and all of the ones who had an experience with horse, to undergo a transformation because of their experience. So maybe your experiences can inspire them and motivate them to reflect on their own experiences.
Me? Oh, God. Okay, so my experience with horses is in two steps. The first step, when I was your age, and I learned how to ride. And in that stage, I learned from horses first the exhilaration of riding, the horse runs, I run with the horse, I feel good. And sometimes I would come, I had exams and my head was full, and I had a fight with my brother always, or with my friends at school, and this girl said this and that. I would get on a horse and I would find instant peace. I would go take the horse in the forest and just enjoy nature and calm down. And that was in my younger years, that was the experience. Now, later, I started training horses. And in order to train horses, I had to become a better person. I had to become that alpha mare that was going to help that horse understand that, you have to put a saddle on him, I have to do all these things. So I had to become better so the horse would progress. And with the horse progressing, I progressed because I learned skills that I could apply in my life, being more patient, being able to be quiet and observe and not think of myself all the time, me, oh, I'm sick, I'm this, I'm tired, I'm nervous. No, no. What's the horse doing? Just project the attention to the outside, to the other person. So when you meet people, you have that skill with you. You welcome them. You're aware what they are. If it's an old lady, you help. If it's a kid who's gonna get burnt or whatever, you do something. You just don't like that. You become active, you become sharp, you become fast. You learn to do what is needed and you do it.
Perfect.
So similar to what Sophie was saying, but I think as that one teacher told me, I even questioned it when he said, "Oh, you work on yourself," and I thought, "No, man, you got to tell me how to do all this stuff. How do I make the Lord turn this and turn that?" But it's taken me many, 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 many years to really, really understand, yeah, uh, the real meaning of that. And as we said, to approach a horse, it's better to approach him with calmness and with purpose. And this is what I have learned a lot, that word purpose, you know. Um, and
Then
also,
they know purpose, purpose, sankalpa, purpose.
so what I've learned is how to best way I can explain it is you can camouflage, because if I don't know a horse, or even years ago, I mean, now I'm a little more naturally at ease and calm pretty much all the time with the horse, but it's not, it's not perfect. This is something that you work on always. But, um, you know, I've learned to kind of put a curtain on that. If I'm feeling bad, or if I'm sad or something, but I'm coming to a horse, I cannot come to that horse with all that, because then the horse is going to go, why am I feeling bad? Why am I sad? Why am I that? So I have learned with myself, is I can camouflage that, you know, and I camouflage it. And so that when I'm with the horse, I can project a purpose as simple as this. And it's so simple, yet it's very profound. You come to the horse, you put the halter on him, right? You halter the horse, you take him from the corral, and you bring him up to the hitching post, and you tie it up, and then you're going to go for a ride. So, what I have learned is not to come carrying all my emotions and stuff. I come to the horse and I start thinking, okay, you got we have a purpose. I'm gonna halter you. We're gonna go to the hitching post. We're gonna go on your ride. And so the horse, instead of feeling any of my discomfort or anything, he's feeling, oh, we're gonna do it. And then he starts feeling good, you know. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the hitching post. Well, that means he's gonna put a saddle on me, and that means we're gonna go out and we're gonna do something. So he starts feeling a purpose, and then I start feeling that purpose, And so it has really helped me in so many ways, and it has helped that kind of feeling. I think comes more naturally. It took years and years and years. Wasn't automatic, but now it's very, very natural to it is hard to explain it, and then when you're on the horse, and you have that experience of his heart and his movements, and you're moving together, you become what it's like a meditation. I can't explain it in any other way. You know, it's you are on a trail or whatever you're doing, and somehow you feel the wind. You just feel it more. You're aware of it. You start looking around, because remember, you're sitting up, and it's nice to be up in that height. You know, it's not our natural height, when you're sitting on the horse, and then you go. And so just that elevation change, when you start seeing the trees and the flowers and the path, differently, all of a sudden, that's why I say it's like a meditation. You come into this other state. Now, and then the horse is with you, and the horse is going, "Oh wow, we're doing this together." And it's very hard to explain, but it's such a wonderful feeling. I think I imagine it's like a good meditation, you know. And so and it's something I'm still learning and still perfecting. Uh, and that's add again, you know, to try to do that when I'm with my daughters or people, try to camouflage all your not negative stuff, but all your troubles or stuff, and project something a little more positive, you know? Well, then and then you get something more positive back from that person, and that's one of the greatest things I've learned, I can still hide all that discomfort, and then present something a little more positive, a little more purposeful, and then I get such a nice reaction from people and from you guys. you know, that's why I really have enjoyed, you know, your energy. You know, so
That's the first step we talked about, like calmness. That um, kind of transcending your problems for the moment,
yeah,
like
exactly.
letting go of your petty, trivial
Mhm,
matters in life,
mhm,
and being in the moment, and having a solemn intention of
Yes.
what needs to be done now, what's required now, because the mind otherwise, when it has free time, it's like a
Yeah.
idle mind's a devil workshop type of
Yeah.
mechanism, you know.
And it's a practice.
It's a practice.
It's a practice.
And this, they have been trying this since the Vedic times. Ashwamedha Yagna was like a horse
The horse sacrifice. Yeah.
yagna.
Yeah.
They used to let a horse out as a very non-violent way of conquering territories or establishing collaboration between empires. And so, since Vedic times, people have been working with the horses. And you know, in the Mahabharata, there was one character who was very good with the horses. Do you remember who? Nakul. And Nakul learned this horse education when he was a child in a Gurukul like you, and it came in handy later on. During his exile, the last year they had to be incognito, when nobody could recognize that they were Pandavas, and Nakul worked in a stable
The stable.
as a horse caretaker. So I'm sure that the knowledge and experience that they've gained now will come in handy at some point. I mean, it will definitely come in handy in their personal lives, in their inner life, as they reflect on their emotions and make it their sadhana. But even the actual hard skill of working with horses will come in handy, can come in handy at any time. And especially when Nakul's life was at its lowest. You know, horses helped him remain
Yeah.
incognito and come up again out of exile. So, I mean, that's a beautiful way of showing the importance of horses in our lives.
Yeah. Well, our daughter, Eleni, when she was going through nursing school, she still gave horseback riding lessons, and with that money, it helped pay for her schooling.
But more important, you reminded me, more important than that, when she started working as a nurse, right? Since she was new, they would put her in situations where she was dealing with patients that a lot of them would die, you know? And she was saying, God, this is so hard, you know, to see people not well and then not survive, you know? And she said, when she would come and be around the horses, she said, if I didn't have that opportunity to be with the horses, because they just took all that sadness and took all that away, you know, just, you know, like we talked about with the heart and all that and synchronization. She says that thing, she says, if I didn't have horses, it would have been too hard for me to work and see that
In the hospital,
see
so.
that in the hospital. She says the horses saved me for that.
Wow.
I thought that was really
From the trauma,
Yeah.
yeah.
from the
Because
trauma
it's
of
hard.
dealing
It's
with
hard,
death,
you
From
know?
the
seeing death,
stress and yeah.
stress.
She said I would, you know, I embrace life again. You know, she said that sometimes I'd leave the hospital and I'd be so sad and feeling so bad, and then when I'd be around the horses, and I'd be lifted again. You know?
So it's been absolutely fantastic having both of you share your knowledge and experiences and giving them an experience of working with the horses. How was it?
Very good.
Would you like to keep working on horses? Are you going to pass on this knowledge to your schoolmates, the younger ones, right? And we have a stable right here, and
Yeah.
so they're going to go there and we already went once and saw the responsibility it entails, but they told me they'll keep going and they'll also start serving. And now you understand, at least we're beginning to understand, I'm included in that, the importance of horses, you know, and the divinity that the horses reflect. So we offer our salutations to all the horses and all that they teach us.
Thank you.
And thank you guys, you know, because for us, I think I speak for Sophie too. It's so nice to see your reaction, you know, being from fear to comfort and now wanting to learn more. But, you know, you guys have inspired us as well. You know, I really mean it. I'm so happy to see. I see it in your faces, in your eyes, and everything. The attention that you've had, and most importantly, that you have. I feel that you have learned something. You know, and that's made, I think, both of us
Yes.
feel.
Who wants to run with a horse?
Learn something unforgettable.
Yeah.
They'll never forget it.
So we thank you too. for being just really
Thank you.
attentive.
Sadgunath
Maharaj
Maharaj
ki
ki jai.
jai.